DOJ sues California and 11 other states for failing to provide voter registration rolls. The U.S. Department of Justice has sued 12 states, including California, for violating the National Voter Registration Act of 1993. Acting Assistant Attorney General Harmeet Dillon, friend of the show, shout out Harmeet, thank you so much for doing what you do, stated accurate voter registration rolls are the foundation of fair and secure elections. I've said this a number of times on this show. I just want to reiterate it here. Does it matter who wins elections? Yes. But what actually matters more is whether or not people believe in those elections. If people don't believe the elections, you've effectively lost the country. Now, you can also lose the country by continuing to elect radical libs because that's disastrous for what the American experiment was meant to be. But at least that's a slower process and you can fight back through electoral ideological shifts. But what you can't come back from is people just not believing the vote. And one of the ways that you don't believe the vote is you have scandals like this, where California does not purge their voter rolls. There was a story that, geez, I did back in 2018 when I was running a gubernatorial campaign that saw 300 people registered to vote in the state of California at an address that was a vacant dirt parking lot. This is a thing that's happened consistently in the state of California because they don't purge their voter rolls. My dad passed away in the fall of 2022. He continued. I have to check. I don't know. No, they did send out ballots this one. I'll have to ask my mom if he's still getting ballots because up till 2024, I believe, he was still getting ballots sent to the house. Now, because we're honest American citizens, we did not participate in submitting that vote. But I can confidently tell you that my dad was getting ballots up until the most recent big election. And I'm super curious if he got one this cycle, and we'll be super curious to see if he gets one next cycle. But he has been he's passed several elections past and was still getting votes. Anyways, back to this. The core allegations here is the DOJ claims that these states have not made reasonable efforts to remove ineligible voters, exactly what I'm saying, deceased, moved, or felons from their voter rolls. That also reminds me, another friend of mine, I think I mentioned him he moved to Texas. Him and his wife moved to Texas. They still get forwarded mail to their new address in Texas with election material. But they moved 2023, I think, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and still are clearly, I probably should check. I think they're still registered in the state of California, even though they moved, even though they did all those things the right way. California had approximately 22.9 million registered voters. Okay, what does that actually mean? There's 40 million people in the state. Compare that to the voting population, which is about 25.7 million voters as of the 2024 general election. That is an unbelievably high percentage of people registered to vote. Given the participation rate and the turnout rate, and I am not one of those people that thinks we need everybody's vote. I think if you have no idea what's going on, do the American thing and don't vote. So there's that. But that's an unbelievably high percentage of people who are registered to vote. California has not conducted comprehensive canvasses to identify and remove ineligible voters since 2018. That is what the DOJ is accusing California of. There's a bunch of other things going on here. Bottom line here, because we're running out of time, is that the DOJ looks like it's going to hopefully straighten some of these states out. And I can almost guarantee you elections will look a lot different if these states purge their voter rolls and don't allow people to, not even allow people, don't give the opportunity for votes to be cast from dead people. There's a hilarious joke, at the risk of running on too long, that says, my dad voted for a Democrat for the first time in his life in this last election. That would have never happened if he was still alive. And it's been a joke for a very long time because somehow libs tend to corral votes of people who have since passed And those people still vote in those elections.